born in LA, grew up in the projects. We moved around. My dad was a construction worker, so we moved from place to place. My mom and dad would break up. My mom would go back to LA. My dad would start going to Anaheim, so we'd go back and forth. But from our raising, it was just bad. It was alcoholism. My mom had mental issues. So I kind of got used to growing up in the craziness, you know. I was okay when I became 18, you know. I was a construction worker, I was making good money, you know, a couple beers after work wasn't no big deal. And then it's got to be where I got married, and then after my first divorce, I became more aware of my alcoholism. It got worse, and going to bad places and bad things, hanging around with bad people, put you in bad situations, so you end up in drinking in jails and institutions. Just been working enough to drink, and then drinking enough, staying sober enough to get work. A few times I've gotten right with God. I finally, after the end of my second marriage, I went back to God, believed in God, trusted in God, and I was clean for 8 years. And I walked closely with God, and then my mom passed away, and unfortunately, I couldn't handle it. So I picked up the bottle again, and then periodically from time I couldn't get any sobriety. 6 months, 8 months, even a year, and then I just lost it again. I said to myself, this is it, because God saved me from prison a few times, and I thought, this is it. It's time to clean up my life. So I came back here and I went to the hospital over here, and I know that they would refer me to West Care. And when I went to West Care, they asked me what I wanted to do. I said I wanted to go to the mission.
I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I was raised by a good family. My mother and father both worked. We were close. We always got together at the dinner table like a traditional family would do and talk about the day and everything. And but I came from a family that liked to drink. We would go to bars together. My mom and dad would go to the bar and drag me along, and it just seemed natural that bars always were, even as I grew older, was just a natural place for me. I enjoyed being there. I felt comfortable there. And our family always drank on holidays, and like Christmas was basically you get together, you exchange Christmas presents, and then you drink and play cards. And so drinking for me was just a natural part of life. Everybody did it. It led me into lots of bad decisions, spiraling down to where I really had nothing left, and I started getting in trouble with the law, and I basically fled St. Louis to Las Vegas to start a new life. Finally, one day, I just fell on my knees and cried out to God, I can't do this anymore. And I got saved, and I ended up eventually, you know, I didn't stop drinking though, and I kept spiraling and spiraling. I was saved, but I wasn't saved from my alcoholism.
I remember coming home from Sandia, and I come walking in the room, my brother was sitting there drinking a beer, and he started getting high. So he was just done rolling a joint. And you know, I didn't drink, or I used to work out a lot and exercise. So I told him to give it to me, and he didn't believe me at first. So when I took it from him and grabbed the lighter, he's like, go get a beer, it's gonna hurt your throat. And then it got worse from there. I moved back to Vegas, hard time getting a job. I finally did found employment, went back to being a dealer, and started hanging out at the bar after work. Started drinking more and more. Where it was Friday and Saturday at first, became Friday, Saturday, my days off. Then it became Monday through Friday. And it was getting out of hand. You know, and then one night I was pretty drunk, and a friend of mine offered me Coke. So I snorted it, and I went from being drunk to all this energy. And more energy, I could think quicker, smarter. I wasn't no more an introvert, wasn't shy around people. You know, I could talk talk to anybody. And one day the coke dealer ran out of coke, but they had meth. And then friends started noticing my addictions. You know, my eyes were turning black from being up so long. I'm throwing up at work from the alcohol. I can remember looking up and saying, "Why, God? What did I do to deserve this? I'm not a criminal. I'm not a bad person. I don't hurt people. What did I do to deserve this?" And all I heard was, "Get up, Anthony." And I got up and I walked over there to Bonanza Street, where the underpass is, and I cried for a minute. And I came to the front gate and I asked to speak to Tim Secession and Dean, you know, if I could speak with them and see about getting into their program to help change my life.
Growing up, I had a pretty normal childhood. Was very loose-knit. I pretty much did what I wanted to when I wanted to. I was a good kid. After I graduated high school, I got my first job doing telecommunications, installation and maintenance, and was doing really well. My mom passed away. And I drank a little bit of beer in high school, didn't really care for it too much. But at that point, I was mad at God, and I wanted to, I was going to run things the way I wanted to. But I immediately sought to anesthetize the pain, the emotional pain. I did not know how to deal with that. I did not grow up being taught how to deal with emotions. So I started drinking, and I'm a textbook example of progressive alcoholism. Because, you know, you see somebody that hasn't cut their hair in a long time, you see them 6 months later, their hair's long. But as that person, you look every day in the mirror and you don't see your hair growing. This is the same thing. I was, on a daily basis from one day to the next, I didn't know an increase in my usage. I've been in and out of some rehabs. This is my second year-long program. And I had gone through a year-long program in July of '09. I started in Amarillo, Texas. And I graduated this. It's a very similar program to here, just without the Genesis. And I stayed sober for about 3.5 years. And I made some bad choices. I moved in with a girl that drank and thought I could control. I became complacent and began to feel like I had accomplished all these things myself.
What I've learned from this program is how to deal with reality and not get angry. And that was one of my triggers. I get angry, I get in a fight, and then I go drink. I learned that I can work through it, that I don't have to drink today. And through this program, I've never really had a urge to drink because God has been He's been walking with me. I can feel His hand on my head, and when I started to get frustrated or angry, I felt the power and the peace of God come on me and tell me to be quiet, be still, be all right. We'll work through this. I'm in this with you. So, didn't have a problem. The Spirit has walked through me through this whole program. I've learned to help people, talk to people. God uses me as a vessel to say His words. I actually got sense. And you know, the weirdest thing for me was I've always been the guy by himself. I worked by myself. And I found myself being part of a team, and then I found myself leading the team, and which was really amazing. And because, you know, I was the guy over there in the corner. He was okay. I just let him go, you know, leave him alone. But I'm not that anymore.
It wasn't really until I came here to the mission and finally did accept that Christ had to be centered in my life, and that addiction was actually taken away. And I can honestly say this time, without a doubt, I have no craving to drink, I have no desire to drink, and I honestly believe that by the blood of Christ I have been healed, and that has been taken away from me. I can look back now because the blinders have been removed and see all those times I thought I was so clever, I got out of this, aha. It wasn't me at all. It was because God was getting me out of those things, because God had something for me in the future.
Thank God that there's something inside of me that still hasn't given up. And it's through being here to have hope. Here on this property, it's a small community. We all help each other. It's what Christ wanted us to do. is to help your fellow man. Not to think, well, I helped out this person, so I should get this. It doesn't work that way. It's the feeling good when you help people. We can speak in class openly amongst men without, you know, sometimes you're afraid to share things, but not here. You can express yourself here. You know, how did you feel when you were a child growing up? How do you feel as a man now? What went wrong? Then they talk about, how do you know the wind blows? You can't see it, but you can see the effects of it. And now I see the effects of people that believe and love God, and God loves them back. And without that, I would have just been lost forever.
I came out here looking for this Genesis program. I'm very analytical. You know, I wanted to know why. What in my head was going on that would make me think or not think about the consequences of me drinking again. And the Genesis taught me a lot about myself. Self-discovery is what that's all about. But the thing that I really didn't expect was all the God and Jesus that we get here, and the morning devotions every day. And one thing I learned in the Genesis book is that, yes, I know why now I made these decisions that I'm suffering the consequences for now, but also the fact that I can't change that myself. I am, as far as my ability, I can't change that. I have to let God change that about me. So that's what the unexpected thing that I gained out of this program. I wanted to know what was wrong. Where did my thinking go wrong? And what I realized as going through the process is it really goes deep, a lot further than just your basic 12 steps that you would get out of an AA meeting. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but the 12 steps, you do your inventory about, okay, here's the things that I did wrong, here's how I hurt people. Genesis goes further into why you did those things, as opposed to just the acts themselves and asking forgiveness for those. Yes, I need to do that. I wanted to know why I would do that.
You know, I used to think when a while back, about 6 to 8 months, that God was going to send me out to be a street minister, because usually I can talk to anybody. When there ain't no pressure on, you know, I ain't got a loss for words, but that's what I figured, you know. And now somebody's got to go out and help people like us, you know, and I thought, I ain't going to start a ministry, just maybe go help people that are doing it and find out where, you know, that, I mean, you do the footwork and God opens the doors, and you just go with the flow. Go with the Spirit.
Now that my time here at the mission is coming to its end, I do know that Pastor Cody, who helped me get here, he runs a homeless ministry called Broken Chains, and I've already spoken with him that I want a more hands-on part of it. And I also know that there's lots of job opportunities, and working in the kitchen has gave me that back in the job place again. You know, I'm committed to being there every day. I was made a supervisor in the kitchen, and I enjoy helping out, and I know that God's got something planned for me that's you know, out there. I just don't know what it is. I'm not a prophet, but I know God's with me, so that's all that matters.
I know as I'm getting older, I can't make these mistakes with life. What I plan on doing is going and getting a job at first, and then seeing if I can get financial assistance. If not, I'll pay for it myself. But I plan on going to Community College of Southern Nevada to get the prerequisites out of the way, so I can go to UNLV for their hotel management training program. And I plan on graduating from UNLV within the next 5 years.
I'm pretty much going back home. Like I said, my job is still there. My family is there. I don't have any kids. I'm not married, but I got my brother, his wife, and my 4 nephews live there. And now I'm a great uncle. I have a great nephew. So I'd like to be involved in their life. My oldest brother, who lives in Amarillo, is probably my favorite person on this planet. So I really would like to get back and spend some time with him. I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to still have my job. I've been doing the same thing for 32 years. Just I'm an old phone guy. So I'd like to go back home And I wouldn't trade this experience for the world.